So it finishes at St James's Park, Newcastle United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 2. And, well, we had to come from behind, but at last we saw a bit of fighting spirit, a team that didn't want to lose the game today. And that's, as fans, all we've been asking for all along. This is the Toon Review. Hi everybody, my name's Paul. Welcome back to another Toon Review, and we're just looking over the game, a brief review of the Newcastle United 2, Tottenham 2 result at St James's Park, as well as the player ratings. For once, I'm not blowing the gasket. It was a decent performance, and a performance that we can really grow on going into the Burnley game, which is now massive, because as I speak, doing this video, it is 0-0 at half-time between Aston Villa and Fulham, so I don't know how that's going to end up, but we could obviously start the game at Burnley in the bottom three. However, let's not dwell on that. Let's dwell on the performance against Tottenham, which I thought was okay, because when I looked at the team sheet, I was disheartened instantly. I thought, where are the goals going to come from? Where is the performance going to come from? It just seemed that once again, Steve Bruce had set us out to get a draw. And the game started that way because in the first 5-6 minutes, Tottenham could have scored twice. They really did threaten us. Just couldn't get on the end of a couple of crosses and take the lead. But as the first half grew on, we got a bit stronger. We started to create stuff ourselves. Joelinton had a good shot from just outside the area, but once again, didn't put it to the side of the keeper. It went straight down Lloris's throat and he made a good save. Lovely clipped over ball from John Joe Shelvey, and on comes Dwight Gale, and a brilliant save from Lloris. And really, Gale should have done better with the rebound. I thought he should have just smashed it instead of just trying to side-foot it in the net. But nevertheless, it didn't go in. And you're thinking at this stage, you know, while we're on top, we really need to try and get a goal, because we've seen in other games, you know, we play so well and then we don't get a goal and then it goes to shit. And it was happening again, you know. But all of a sudden, you know, we kept our composure. Matt Ritchie wins the ball on the left-hand side, fighting for it. He gives it to Sean Longstaff, plays a lovely ball across, and Joelinton, of all people, is there to side-foot the ball into the lead. And we're in front. And I was so pleased for Joelinton, because I've been one of his biggest critics this season, but he fought and he worked hard today and he got his goal. 20 seconds later, however, straight from the kick-off, Spurs are level. They get the ball into the box. The ball's played through for Harry Kane. Dubravka looks like all day that's his ball. But who comes in to ruin the day? Emil Sodden-Kraft. What an absolute balls up of a decision that was, because he could see that Dubravka was coming out for the ball, the way Kraft was running. But when Kraft gets to the ball, he doesn't do anything with it. Why not just boot it into the stands? He just said it hits him, and it comes straight to Harry Kane, who says, "Thank you very much, I'll make it 1-1. And then within a few minutes, they're 2-1 up. Again, we switch off. Lack of concentration, which we've talked about for so long this season. And he gets the ball. I don't know where Paul Dummett is. He's been sucked in. Harry Kane's got the freedom of St James's Park, runs in, nails the shot into the bottom corner. Now, a lot of people were shouting offside, but when the replay was shown, he timed it to perfection, as Harry Kane normally does. And you get to half-time, we're 2-1 down, and it's really annoying, because we know that we had a very, very good spell in that first half, and that we aren't playing too badly, and Spurs aren't playing too well. Second half kicks off. Miggy then has an opportunity, cuts inside onto his left foot, and it's pushed wide by Hugo Lloris again. I'm not sure where that was actually going in, but Lloris wasn't to know that and made sure it didn't go in. And time kept going on, and you're wondering, is Steve Bruce going to make a substitution? You know, we are playing decent football. We certainly had a bit more fight in us than we did against Brighton, and it looked okay. It really did look okay. But we needed a bit of a spark, and again, Steve Bruce just kept hanging on for a substitution, eventually bringing Maxi on the pitch, but he didn't really influence anything. We're just battling, but nothing was coming off. Tottenham then get a break. You think, right, Lamela just play Son in. He's clean through. A decent ball. He's clean through on goal. He makes a hash of it, but the ball eventually comes to Harry Kane. He cuts inside and hits the outside of the post. Massive relief for us, because that was game over had that gone in. Then all of a sudden, we go down the other end, and a ball is played across, brilliantly won at the far post by Joelinton, heads it back across, it falls to Willock, he smashes it in, and it's 2-2, and we get a point out of it. Now, if you'd asked me before the game, is a point good enough, I would have said no, but given how the game went, I'm bloody happy we got a point. It finished 2-2. We can look at it as a positive point. Whether we're in the bottom three or not next week, it's still a massive game. The Burnley game is now huge. And we've got to go down there with the same fight and intensity and belief that we had in this game. Not to drop our heads if we fall behind, because we've done that so many times this season. And it's, the match has been completely ruined because we've given up. But this time we haven't given up. We kept going. And that's what we need to see from this team between now and the end of the season. A bit of fight. No matter if we concede a goal, we still say to ourselves, right, we're still going out there. We're still going to try and win the game, or at least get something from it. We did that today. We could have won it. Many people saying on my live reaction show this afternoon that, if we'd had a decent striker, we could have won the game if Wilson was playing. It's all ifs and buts. Wilson wasn't playing. We didn't get the win that we maybe actually deserved. But we'll take a point now given how the game went. So it makes the Burnley game even more huge for us when that eventually comes around next week. They've got to really get their attitude right in training. And Steve Bruce has a big job this week because Dyche will be furious with the way Burnley lost today at Southampton. He will not accept that from any of them players. So he will grill them this week. And you bet your bottom dollar they'll be up for the match next week. So we have to match them with the same intensity and same attitude. But whether Steve Bruce can do that with our players, yet to be seen. Joelinton, for me, best game I've seen him in a Newcastle shirt, possibly. He did really well today. Yes, we know he's not good enough. At the end of the day, he's not going to be good enough long run. But, if he can put in that kind of performance, get a bit of motivation about him, a bit of confidence, now till the end of the season, could well be the man that scores a couple of goals and keeps us up. You never know. I've been one of his biggest critics this season. Everybody knows that. But I've also said that I'll give praise where praise is due. And praise was due today for Joelinton. I thought he did fantastically well. Got us a goal and also set the second one up. So you can't do any more than that. He was involved in both goals. I thought he worked hard. He was winning headers, flick-ons. He was using his strength for once, which was good to see. But we'll come on to the player ratings now anyway, and then I'll discuss what I think of some of them. Dubravka, didn't really have an outstanding save to make in the game, if we're honest. But the first goal, did he shout loud enough to say he was coming for the ball? I have a feeling he did. I'm putting the mistake down to Emil Kraft because even if Dubravka didn't shout for the ball, he should have seen that he was coming out for the ball quite easily and would have got there. Or if not, when Kraft got the ball, he should have booted it. So there wasn't really much for Dubravka to do. His kicking was a disappointment again today, and that's something he needs to work on. I was very, very disappointed with his kicking. Some of them just going straight over the players' heads and out of play. So I'm going to give Dubravka a straightforward 7. If we move to right wing back, Jacob Murphy, I thought did very well again. Didn't have a lot to do defensively. But we kept on changing formation, didn't we, quite a lot? Sometimes there was 4 at the back, then they would put 5. So Jacob Murphy was up and down as he normally is. I think this guy's really improved and deserves a run in the side. I think his crossing is fantastic. And even when it's not, he put one bad crossing in the second half. He won the ball back, took the player on and cut inside and nearly got a shot away, which he's capable of doing because he's 2-footed. And that's a big thing. So for me, Jacob Murphy, he gets a 7 as well. Very, very satisfactory performance. On the other side, we had Matt Ritchie. And Matt Ritchie is Matt Ritchie, isn't he? I mean, he's been out for so long, but he put a performance in today. He worked very hard. And for me, he should be our captain. Because if players are giving the ball away, he will let you know that you've given the ball away. But he will also, give you the kick up the arse in the right way as well. And even when he makes the mistake, he bollocks himself. You can see it. So he did okay. And, I'm not going to come down on Matt Ritchie hard because Matt Ritchie has been out of the side for a long time. And as Steve Bruce normally does, he just throws these players in expecting miracles. But he did okay, Matt Ritchie. So again, another 7. If we move into the centre-backs, I'll start off with Emil Kraft, who should never be near a centre-back position. He's not a right-back either, in my opinion, but this is how it is. He was awful today. I have no faith in this man. I don't know how he gets a start in the team. Terrible mistake for the first goal. So I'm giving him a 3 today. Jamal Lascelles, our captain, I thought was sound enough. Didn't really, again, we weren't really tested defensively a lot. I know Tottenham scored a couple of goals, but if you look overall in the game, they didn't really have a lot of shots at goal. Never mind on target. But you've got to put that down to us as well, that we didn't really let them. We shut them down very quickly. So Jamal Lascelles, he gets a 7 as well. And moving on to the other centre-back, which was Paul Dummett. And Paul Dummett is Paul Dummett. I mean, I was disappointed that he got sucked in a little bit for their second goal. Like I said, Harry Kane gets the freedom of St James's Park and he's able to score. So for me, Paul Dummett, straight down middle of the road, 6. If we move into the midfield, we've got John Joe Shelvey. Now, Shelvey for me, he's hit and miss. He really is hit and miss. And today he was a miss again. He put a beautiful ball in for Dwight Gale for that header that Lloris saved, which was very impressive. But unfortunately, that's all he did. The 50-50 tackles he just refuses to go in for. That really does my piss in. It really does. When they'll win a 50-50 ball and suddenly they'll get the breakaway. He won one 50-50 challenge in that match that I counted today. For me, he's just not good enough. He's not somebody you want alongside you in the trenches. And John Joe Shelvey gets a 4. Other person in midfield was Sean Longstaff today, who I thought was better today. Some people on my live stream earlier on said that thought he was the worst player on the pitch. I just cannot agree with that. I thought he did okay. I think Sean Longstaff is a number 10. I'd love to see him given that opportunity in the number 10. I think he'd do a fabulous job. But he was straight. He did okay today. So Sean Longstaff gets a 7. Miggy Almiron, again with Miggy, he worked really hard today, but he didn't create anything. He had that one opportunity in the second half, cutting in onto his left foot, and obviously Lloris making the save. Whether it was going in or not, I'm not sure, but it was an opportunity, and that's where we want to see Miggy, not back defending all the time. I know his work rate is so high that he gets back and wins the ball and things like that, and he works hard in defence. There is no doubt about it. But I want to see Miggy further up the pitch, creating chances rather than denying chances. We've got defenders there to stop that. Just get up the pitch and score some goals. So Miggy, he gets a 6. Joelinton, if we move on to him, I thought was great today. And, like I said, I've been one of his biggest critics all season long, even since he signed. However, he worked his arse off today. He was winning headers. What got me for Joelinton today was the fact that he was using his body strength. And we've said it a million times. He's a big, bulky guy and shouldn't be knocked off the ball so easy. There was times when early doors in the first half, he was getting the ball and losing it. And I thought, oh, here we go again. But he improved as the match went on and actually did really well. Obviously scored the first goal. He made the second. I thought all round a very, very good performance from Joelinton today. And he gets an 8. If we look at Dwight Gale, again, should he have scored that header? Really, it was a beautiful ball by Shelvey. Should he have scored? I believe he should have. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Lloris made a brilliant save, but when the rebound came to him, I thought he should have done a lot better with that. But he didn't. He just side-footed it and somehow stayed out of the net. But he wasn't really involved in anything else after that. Dwight Gale is a centre forward. You expect him being in areas where you can, cross the ball and things like that, and he'd be on the end of. And he just isn't my kind of striker, I'm afraid. He just isn't. So Dwight Gale gets a 5. If we move on to the substitutions, obviously Maximan came on. He did all right. He was huffing and puffing, but he needs to get his fitness back. Just a middle of the road 6 for him. Manquillo came on. Again, down the right-hand side, he came on. But again, I didn't understand that substitution because Jacob Murphy didn't really do anything wrong. It was one of his better games today. So Jacob Murphy performed really well. And bringing him off was kind of a slap in the face because there was no need to bring him off. He crossed the ball really well all game. But Manquillo didn't really have long enough to make an effect, to be honest. So it's a straightforward 5. And the other substitution, obviously, was Joe Willock. Willock, for me, gets in the right positions. It's just all about finishing. And he was where he needed to be today. This is what I mean in my reviews when I talk about, Joe Willock being a box-to-box midfielder and how much we need him there. And he was that midfielder today. When he came on, and bursting into the box and picking up scraps. That's what he should be doing. And he did that today. Joelinton headed it back across. It missed the other player coming in. And who was at the back post? Joe Willock. Bang, 2-2. And that's what I want to see from him. Moving on to the manager, Stevie Bruce. Well, when I saw the team lineup, I thought, my God, we are going to get a pounding today. And then I saw the Tottenham side and I thought, well, maybe not. I don't think Jose Mourinho has taken us very seriously. And if anything backfired on the manager today, it was Mourinho. So I was pretty pleased with that. I didn't get his substitutions again. He doesn't motivate anybody from the sidelines. So many times the camera's panned on him today, and once again he's standing there with his trout pout and his hands in his pockets, and he just doesn't give a shit. And that's the impression that he gives everybody. And that's the impression he gives the players, the fans, the media. He does not give a shit, just stand there with his hands in his pockets. A manager who we want to see on the sidelines, dictating play, pointing where players should be going. But he doesn't do that. But, you know, we got to point out the game. It wasn't at all a bad performance. So I'm giving Steve Bruce a 5. I can't give him any more because his team selection for me was defeatist, even though they did get a draw out the game. And his substitutions didn't make any sense to me, but hey-ho. But that's it. That's me, a brief review and player ratings. If you haven't seen my live reaction show, you can go back and watch a rerun of that now. It's on the channel. Don't forget, 4 Horsemen tomorrow night. That should be very lively because I think a lot of things are going to be said in that show tomorrow night. A lot of home truths as well. But you know, we have to be careful these days with what we say and things like that. So, but, you know, honesty is the best policy sometimes. So, well, all the time, actually. But I just need to feel that things need to be said about things that have happened this week, certainly on social media. But that'll be all on the 4 Horsemen show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. If you have enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button. It does help grow the channel. If you are new to the channel and you've enjoyed the video and you've had a look at the other videos and you like what you see, the live streams, all the different shows we do on the channel, please do consider subscribing. It's grown very nicely, almost at 2,000 now, which will be a massive hit for me. So please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. But in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend, and we'll see you on the 4 Horsemen tomorrow. Take care.
Be strong. Be strong.